Hi, I'm Susan McConnell, and thanks for joining us on Dangerous Conversations today. I am your champion for LinkedIn for the Timid, and I host a conversation every Tuesday at 12 with different business owners on different topics to light up your network and my network, and for all of us to find actionable ways to improve our businesses. Today, my guest is Ken Cheo. He's the president of Our Sales Coach, and I've known Ken for a very long time, probably from the first actual in person networking event I went to. Ken works with executives, managers, and select salespeople with guaranteed results for top line sales growth. Prior to creating our sales coach brand, Ken enjoyed 20 years of sales and sales management experience. Ken has participated in speaking engagements and seminars on a variety of sales and marketing topics. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Thanks. Glad to have you here. Just making we had some technical challenges getting on here today, and that happens when you do live events, right?
Yeah,
So let's
technology.
get into the meat. It's definitely one of my favorite topics. Obviously, sales. You and I have been in sales forever. And as I said, we met at probably one of the first in person networking events that I ever went to down in Marshfield.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell me, Ken, in all of your years in sales and sales management, and now obviously coaching and training folks, what are the most common challenges that companies come to you for?
Well, usually I get more times than not, it's the inconsistent results, and a lot of times that's really caused by not really having a definitive plan and just not doing the behaviors. And so you really need today to have a well-defined marketing plan and a prospecting plan. You really need both. You can't rely on just one. And when it comes to prospecting proactively, a lot of times the mistakes they make are they're just reliant on only the passive inbound, and it's not enough. Or they're maybe working just one channel. For example, they might say, well, we get most of our business from referrals, which is great, but it's not enough. You need to have multiple proactive channels that are being worked on a regular basis, and then be consistent with it. I mean,
Right.
really, somebody needs to be consistently prospecting, or you cannot avoid the roller coaster. And then the last thing is tracking, because once you have a plan to develop, produce leads, then you need to be tracking the right things to see that you're staying on track or make adjustments. The other problem that they come to us for is maybe they are producing a lot of leads, but not closing enough. I was with somebody yesterday that were, their close rate was like 15% on proposals. Well, that leads to a ton of wasted time meeting with people, putting proposals together, and following up. And it's not uncommon though that that we first start working with somebody that's in the 20 to 25% range, and when they double that, it's huge. It makes a really big difference,
Yeah,
and then
it
they end up
does.
going up market too, and they end up getting bigger deals.
You're so right. It's the process, and it's developing the process, following it, and then tweaking it, and then also re-implementing new processes because things have changed and now processes have to change. But it's so hard sometimes just to follow a process and stay with it. And I find when I think about this is sometimes you need ongoing coaching and training to help you with that because you're sometimes just stuck in the I only do phone calls or I only do door to door or I only do one thing. There's many more methods and many more ways to touch people nowadays. And what is it, 8 to 12 touches before you actually get someone to engage?
Yeah, well, it really depends on what channel you're working, what that formula is. But
Right.
the point is you need to have that formula in the first place, and then be able to keep yourself accountable for executing there, and then have a sales process that enables you to really qualify the deals properly, make sure you're meeting with the right people and not wasting time.
Hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And um, It's crazy, what we need these days and the different processes. So what's unique about how you help people with their sales and sales process?
Well, a lot of times, when a company goes to like a company for training, for example, they'll say, "Oh, we'll customize a program for you, and we'll come in and we'll spend 8 hours or 2 days with your team." And in reality, humans can't absorb more than an hour's worth of information and expect to remember any of it or know what to do with it. So we don't do it that way. We basically drip the information in 1 hour blocks, but combined with an equal hour of coaching. That way, the things that people are learning, they're actually hearing it, and but in the context of real sales situations repeatedly. So it's the repetition in combination with the coaching that really gets the changes that need to take place to get the results. And those are two legs of the stool. The third one is self accountability. We were talking about that before, but you don't know what to keep yourself accountable for unless you have chunked down your goals into activities and know what you need to do and are able to do in congruent with all the other things you need to do, and
Right.
then keep yourself accountable for that. So it's really repetition, coaching, and accountability against your goal, not just teaching people skills. That's
Correct.
the part.
Yeah, no, you're right. Exactly right. It's you can learn the process, but if you actually don't use the process or train on the process or get coaching, because sometimes you're uncomfortable with certain parts of the process and you need that coach to sort of get you there mentally, sometimes, not even, physically. It's sometimes you just need someone to push you to do something different, get you out of your comfort zone to try new things. And sometimes some of the stuff is new, even to people that have been in sales for a long time. I'm constantly learning new ways to do things and trying new things. And um, again, sometimes it's uncomfortable, and sometimes some people are uncomfortable with it. And you know what? I guess you talk to some folks that have been in sales a long time, and they do things a certain way, and they're not willing to try new things, and that's sometimes not a good thing. So I like the idea that you do it in small chunks. That's great because you're right. We don't process. That's cool.
Yeah, talk about uncomfortableness. There's no comfort in being rejected. Okay, let's face it.
Right?
And even if you are, the first thing is knowing what you need to do. And like I said, then you have a formula, and you can keep yourself accountable for doing it. But the problem is that salespeople don't keep up with it, and it's part of it is really how they view rejection. You've just got to keep doing what you need to do and track it. That way you will be successful, because if your formula makes sense, you will be successful. A successful day means you did all the activity.
Right.
But if you let rejection get to you, you stop doing the activity. And if you only do half, one thing's for certain: it will take you twice as long, or
Exactly.
you half as much money.
Right.
It's
You're
very
exactly
simple.
right. Yeah, you are right. It's if you focus on the activities, you can sort of kind of the rejection can kind of go in the back point because you have more positive things going on and you're focused. And yeah, rejection is a very hard thing in sales. I mean, even in life, but the sales rejection is definitely, I hate that, it takes 10 no's to get to a yes because then you're like saying, oh my God, I have to get 10 no's to get to a yes. And if I just focused on the activities, is I'm going to connect, I'm going to send some emails, I'm going to make some phone calls. You're not worrying about the one person that says, why are you calling me right now?
Yeah.
And guess what? It's not you, it's them. You just, you know what I mean? You hang the phone up and you go, oh, sorry, they're having a bad day because I'm not. It's like, it's
Well,
mental.
yeah. Yeah. And so that, you're going to get people who just don't want to talk to you. But the point is, if 30% of the people you reach out to are going to say no, then, 30% will say yes. And the other 30% are, hey, maybe there's an opportunity there, right? But you've got to do enough to make your formula, get the results that you expect.
Right.
And it's, it's just a matter of really knowing what that is and tracking it and then keeping up with it.
And yeah, and sometimes you can slide into some bad habits that you're not even aware you're picking up. And that's where I think coaching is valuable. It's every once in a while to have someone listen to a call that you're doing and making comments. I mean, I used to be so uncomfortable with it, but if someone can help you and make you better and improve your percentage for, onboarding and getting new clients, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is really a common problem is salespeople think they need to sell, and they end up really with their scripting being all about them. It's like, all right, here's who I am, here's what we do, and here's what we can do for you. Well, the prospect's sitting there waiting for, okay, well, what does this have to do with me, right? They don't care if you happen to be in the area. They don't really care if you have some latest and greatest, or if you're the biggest or the best, or you're the newest and you do the best service. So everybody else is saying the same thing. You've got to find out what's top of mind with them and know that. And you should know that because you're talking to your customers and your prospects every day, and and then know what's going to get their attention, what's top of mind. And it's not what you're doing,
Right.
and it's not about you and your
Nope.
company. It's
Right.
about them. And so,
Exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. And again, I teach that on the LinkedIn angle. It's again, you don't set your profile. I do this. I do this. I have this degree. It's the problems that you solve and how you help other people is how you actually get clients. And it's interesting that you say that emotional intelligence in a
yeah,
sales way.
you have to know something that's going to catch their attention in the first
Right.
place,
Yeah.
right? And then turn that into a conversation that they have the conclusion that they're going to learn something, you know as a result of that conversation. And
Right.
that's what gets you into enough of a discussion to be able to discern if a meeting makes sense.
Exactly.
And
You're so right. That's yeah.
it's not
You're
you.
right. No, it's not you. It's them. So all of that being said, how can I get the most from my sales team, or how can companies get the most from their sales teams?
Well, we already touched on a lot of these. You need to have a marketing plan and a prospecting plan, both that um, is designed to really produce the lead flow that you need. Okay.
Mhm.
The second thing is you need to have the formula. So you need to know what activities need to be done and how frequent. What on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis.
Yep.
And the third piece is to be tracking those things. So I find a lot of times, sometimes clients don't even have a CRM before I even start working with them,
Yes.
or ways to track. I mean, if you don't want to use a CRM, at least have some sort of tracking system. Use a spreadsheet if you need to, but you need to track your leads, your activity, your book business, or you won't know where you're getting stuck or your salespeople are getting stuck. You won't know how efficient they are at the different stages of the sales process, and
Mhm.
therefore, how do you know where they can improve? And then you can determine, right, what coaching or training do they need. Okay, so without all those three things in place, the plan, the form, and you won't know where they need help. And otherwise, you just figure, hey, I got the wrong person, which is typically what ends up happening.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I remember back in the days I used to have the card box with the index cards and the 1 through 31. Well, now it's online and it's so much easier. You can have it on your phone. You can be reading notes about what you did with this client before you even walk in there, and then also set your next um, task with them, your next activity with this person, and this way people don't fall through the cracks and deals don't fall through the cracks. You're so right about tracking. And what's your suggestion for CRM? I've tried quite a few. I always like to get your expertise on that too, Ken, because I know you and I always have this discussion.
Yeah, actually, I just switched to Pipe Drive. I think I really like it because of the reporting. You mentioned one really important aspect of the CRM is tracking your contacts in your pipeline. But the piece I'm talking about really is the reports and how you're using the data, because sales efficiency is in ratios, just like your financial efficiency is in ratios.
Right.
And you need to be taking the data that you're putting in the right places and calculate those efficiency ratios and be looking at them over time on a regular basis, like weekly, be looking at it and adjusting it monthly, so that that where, again, what part of the process you can improve, and also staying on track. And so I think that's part of the reason why I like it, Pipedrive, because it's a lot easier to get better reports out of it. Some of the CRMs that are really good at tracking pipeline and leads aren't so good at generating the reports you need. And it takes a lot of work to get those reports.
Yeah, and I actually have two other suggestions too. I was just speaking with a woman yesterday, Lydia. She has a CRM that's pretty comprehensive marketing through sales. It's called Ventive. And that's a wonderful CRM. Hopefully, we'll give Lydia a little shout out there because she's looking to grow, and it's a very, very robust.
Hmm.
See, Ken wrote it down, Lydia, so I think she's watching. But I was telling her about one I'm trying too. It's called Begin. It's from I think it's Zoho, Bigin, and it's if you're a small business, it's $7 a month. It's
Wow.
I haven't gone to the reporting. I'm still training on it because I've been using the free version of HubSpot, and I'm a little miffed that I can't download my contacts and get out all the information that I need to get out and do it easily.
Hmm.
So I'm getting a little kind of annoyed. I mean, it's a great tool, but if you want to invest a lot of money per month and you're just an individual consultant, it's pretty steep
You
price.
should be able to get the contacts out.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have to find my
I
technical person.
Yeah, well, I have actually found somebody who is really good at getting my clients set up the right way on the CRM and
Great.
generating reports for them at a reasonable price. And so I had them, because I was using HubSpot also. They extracted everything out of
Oh
HubSpot.
wow. So maybe we'll
All
get
my
that
data.
contact out to everybody because maybe they all need help too, like me.
Yes, yes, they were able to get all my data out
That's
and in
great.
the right place in Pipedrive. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
in this day and age, you can't live without, I think, a CRM. I mean, I know you promote Google Sheets and things and do whatever you got to do to track, but a CRM can be invaluable if you use it to its capabilities. I mean, there's other softwares. I have a software that extracts emails. There's so many different fun new tools that you can use to help you stay in touch with people. So it's very cool. Um, what are some of the mistakes that companies make when they're hiring a salespeople? You and I obviously have talked about this quite often.
Yeah, yeah, I hear it all the time. It's like probably the number one complaint is, how do I find the right person? And I think a lot of times people don't spend enough time really figuring out what's the work environment in the first place. Really, who are they going to be having to call on? What are they selling? What's the cost of that product and service? And so, what are they actually really going to need to be doing to be successful? And so when they're interviewing people, they can look for somebody, really drill down on, okay, what's their approach going to be and how have they done that in the past? And are they going to be motivated enough to do what they need to do? That's the, you know, that's the biggest thing. Will they actually do the behavior and keep up with it? That's the hard thing. People
Yes,
hire based on experience and expertise, and they fire based on attitude and behavior or lack thereof.
you are right.
So you really got to figure out. And so sometimes they're putting the wrong person in the wrong role. You have to look at, where is your biggest opportunity? Is it more business from existing customers? Well, that's a different person than somebody who's going to have to actually bang the phones and open up their own doors. And if they're selling transactional things versus very complex, long lead, high priced uh, products or services, it's a different person. And so you really need to think about what is that environment and what will they need to be doing. Okay. And then I think a lot of times, sometimes really, they haven't really thought through the compensation program. I mean, the person needs to be able to live and make enough money to live on,
Right.
right? And so if it's a real small transactional, they need to have enough, income from those transactions and enough transactions to make money. Or if it's a long lead time, expensive product, then they need to have, to be paid based on the activity that's going to lead to results so that they can live. And the other thing is just spending enough time finding the right person. It's
Yeah,
like sales. A lot of times, you're making decisions because somebody presented themselves, and in that situation, you tend to just be looking at the things you like and ignoring the things you don't like, which the things you don't like are usually the things that cause
the
you to
problem.
fail. And you need to really spend enough time and be really diligent about your vetting process
Yes.
to get the right person. And if you're not going to spend the time doing that, then you've got to get somebody else to do that for you. And I work with people who just recruit salespeople and pay them because it's better to have 20 candidates and then discern it down to like four that you're all excited about. Now,
Right.
maybe you won't get that many, but you know, you at least want to have a couple of candidates, either one you'd be ecstatic to get, and that's a better position to be in.
Yeah, you're very true on that one. And attitude and someone with a good work ethic is hard to find. When you're looking at resumes and you see all this experience and, pulling that out and finding the right person does take time. And I heard the saying, well, actually, I heard a recruiter, I said, hire slow and fire fast. And he said, hire right so you don't have to fire. And I'm like, there you go.
Yeah, and it's really, sometimes you need somebody hunting and somebody else closing the deals, perhaps,
Yes, that's a whole
or
nother, yeah.
yeah, or it's
I mean,
account management versus
mhm.
account executive.
Well, so back in, that's another interesting too. Back in the day, I shouldn't even say that. Why should I even say that? I used to be the person that was, beginning to end. You found your own business, you took it through the entire process. Now you have different types of salespeople. You have, a BDR, someone who's just hunting, and then you have your actual salesperson that closes the deals. And it used to be one person. Now you can at least find people who are better skilled because I'm a better hunter in getting the appointment. And I obviously can do the whole thing because I've done the whole thing for years. I said, but that is my thing. And it's interesting. You know what I mean? There's different personalities, and now you have the choice of being able to highlight people's talents and having them, excel and succeed. So that's great.
Right. Or, you have some people that are going after enterprise business, others are doing mid market,
Correct.
others doing small business.
Right. And that's a whole
And,
different skill.
right. And if you need, uh, all three or two out of the three to really be successful in growing the business, then you have to think about um, are those different people? Because quite often they are. And your go to market strategy is going to be different in terms of reliance on marketing, for example.
Yeah. And that's definitely different from, a while ago too. Marketing has become so much more important again with all the amount of touches that it takes to get someone interested in your product. Marketing is invaluable in helping in the sales process, and it's a very interesting topic. But that's for another day. That's a long one, right, Ken? We're going to
Yeah,
actually end this here, but you definitely stay on. I want to chat for a minute. But,
okay.
thanks for our conversation today. And how can people reach out to you if they have questions or they want to have you talk to them about helping the sales team improve?
Well, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My URL is Ken Cheo, or you can just email me at kcheo at oursalescoach.com. OURSALESCOACH.com. You go to my website, Our Sales Coach, and you can reach out to me from there. So, uh,
So I put that in the chat. So if anybody wants to send Ken an email, you can certainly do that. And make sure to join me every Tuesday for Dangerous Conversations to help move your business forward, because you never know who's going to give you an idea that will propel your business forward. And I find that dangerous. Hang on, Ken.